Well, when it comes to your kids' personal health and COVID safety, the return of school, as we've been talking about for the last 30, 45 minutes, is of course top of mind. But also starting to get some attention is an event scheduled for the month after next, October, and Halloween. Now, should trick-or-treating be canceled this year in light of concerns over COVID? Dr. Raywat Deonandan is an epidemiologist and joins us now on Global News Radio. Doctor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, first off, just what are the biggest concerns here regarding COVID and Halloween?
First, I'm stunned that we're talking about this already, but I guess I shouldn't be. People are concerned about the touching of candies given out by strangers, and there really shouldn't be. We call that fomite transmission or surface touch transmission, and this disease doesn't seem to be a big deal with this disease. The main way we get COVID is from sharing intimate space with someone through droplet transmission. And so the risk with trick-or-treating is getting near to another person who you don't know that well, either from knocking on a door and having them shout in your face, and so forth. So, we can get around this with appropriate distancing and more strategies. And of course, at Halloween, everybody's wearing a mask anyway, so it may be a non-issue depending on how we approach it.
Right, I was going to say, obviously kids are, for the most part, wearing masks. We've been preaching, wear a mask, and of course, pretty much every kid has got one on October the 31st, but what about parents at the door? And, they're commenting usually on kids' costumes. Oh, you're so cute. You look so great. They could be breathing on the kids, not respecting physical distancing, trying to hand out treats. Is there not a concern or a danger there?
Yes, that is the absolute danger here. And so what I like to say is, what is Halloween all about nowadays, right? And to my opinion, it's more about getting dressed up, going out on the street, seeing other people dressed up, and going for a walk around your neighborhood with your kids. The handing out candy and meeting strangers at their door, that's a secondary consideration, it seems. So we can do most of the Halloween ritual without having to have that last part. So we could implement some distancing strategies, like have the kids 6 to 10 feet away from your door and throw candy at them, why not? Or have candy left out in your driveway and just watch them come by and get it. That sort of safe mechanism that nonetheless maintains a social contact in the neighborhood.
Okay, you're not suggesting Halloween without candy, though, right? Because that's the whole point. We want candy.
Yeah, you could buy your kids their own candy, it's possible, or go through the performance of leaving out some candy. Of course, if you leave out candy, you can't control how many handfuls any individual kid gets or whether the squirrels are going to steal them on. I don't know. There's some barriers here to overcome and to think through, but in general, the plan should be to enforce some kind of distancing while maintaining the ritual.
Okay, we've been talking about sending kids back to school a great part of this afternoon, and of course throughout the last few weeks, ever since the provincial government announced their back-to-school plan. And if they can be in a communal setting there, if we deem it with proper protocols to be safe or safe as possible, does it pose any greater risk, do you think, as long as we've get, game plan together and protocols in place?
Again, if the distancing is in place, and people are outdoors, it shouldn't pose that much of a risk if we do it right. The thing about schools is you're in an enclosed environment indoors for prolonged periods, so the risk is real. That's why I want to keep the number of exposures small, so in case there is an outbreak, we can take that group of people out of the system and quarantine them without having to shut down the entire school. So to the extent that this interferes with trick-or-treat and vice versa, I don't think it has to if we do it right. And again, I'm going to repeat myself here. Just make sure the distancing is in place and you're not necessarily interacting with strangers on an intimate basis throughout the evening.
What about
kids doing that anyway?
Yeah, what about contact tracing? I was just thinking about that. It's pretty tough when you're like, I think it might have been Dracula. Does anybody got a number for Dracula?
That's a really good point. I hadn't really thought about that. That's a good consideration. And maybe we should have a system in place where parents keep track of the houses they've been to. And I guess it's hard for the homeowners to keep track of who've been to their houses. So it's imperative that the homeowners protect themselves as well. So keep people away from their front doors as much as they can.
All right, so bottom line, Halloween does not necessarily need to be canceled this year. We just need to find alternative and safer ways to conduct it?
I think so. Now, it's the parties held by the older people that I'm more worried about, the young adults having the traditional Halloween
Right.
I miss a great deal. And that's going to be a little out of control this year, especially considering it falls on a Saturday, I think. And I don't know what we do about that, except we got to deploy our public health messaging like nobody's business and make sure people understand that this is a major threat.
COVID, Halloween on a Saturday. I think they call that a perfect storm, don't they?
I suspect we may have some COVID costumes. That'll be intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Without a doubt. Doctor, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There goes Dr. Raywat Deonandan, an epidemiologist. And we're back after this here on Global News Radio, 640 Toronto.